Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Kinesiology 234, and today is in-class partner consultations. So as promised on our WebEx, I'm taking the content that we're doing in class, I'm trying to encapsulate it and fit into just a 15-minute here online so you have something to review both before class so you're prepared, but also then going forward, it's something you can then refer back to and have to reference. So when we look at our course, excuse me, I'm still trying to get over a little chest thing. We know we're back on campus because we met face to face. And then we also know with our class, lectures from 11 to 11:50 and lab is from 12 to 12:50. And for that lab portion, you guys will all be working out partner style with one another. Hold on, let me pause this real quick 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I just had a furry visitor come by and wanted to say hello. I have a couple dogs, and one of them walked in my office, and there was a little bit of background noise. So as I was saying, we know lectures from 11 to 11:50, and lab is from 12 to 12:50, and we're going to partner up in the lab component this week and have you guys work with each other. And the big thing I'm looking for with you guys working with one another is this. I don't care if it's National Chest Day or you're going to the gun shop or whatever it is. You can feel free to pick whatever body part you want or whatever style workout you want. I'm interested in partner one and partner two working together in a collaborative effort. And if it's National Chest Day, partner one picks an exercise, then partner two picks an exercise, and partner one picks an exercise, and partner two picks an exercise. If you're doing like a HIIT style of training, high intensity training, and you want to do a number of different exercises in a circuit, then same thing, take turns picking the exercise and coming up with the different protocols that you want to do. One person might want to do a Tabata style, while the other person is more of a traditional HIIT. I'm totally fine with that. The big thing I'm looking for is this, being able to collaborate, and then also when you're in that environment, getting in the habit of uh, introducing the exercise, describing the exercise, providing a demonstration for the exercise, and then coaching and cueing correctly. And also setting up the expectations for reps and sets. We're doing 3 sets of 10, 4 sets of 8, 1 set of 15. We're going ahead, we're going to do as many reps as possible in 30 seconds. Those are all very important parts of the equation when you're working with a client. And then, of course, provide a spot as needed. And I noted earlier, I think in our WebEx, I presume you guys all know each other from other courses at Harper, but if you don't recognize the person, I would advise making it a point to do this. We'll do an introduction in class here, but one of the things that you'll be confronted with is this. When you're in a fitness type environment, you may have to stand at the front desk until John Smith walks in the front door and you're waiting for him to punch in, and then you have to put your hand out and say, John Smith, how you doing? I'm Adrian. I'm working with you today at 5 o'clock. Do you know where the locker room is? Okay, great. Let me walk you over there. I'll show you where the locker room is and show you how to use the locks on the lockers. And then I'll meet you right out in the lobby area where we can sit down and have a conversation regarding what you're looking to accomplish. That is a very real scenario and one that you'll have to get accustomed to. So if we don't know each other, we'll make those introductions in class because we have lecture first, and then we'll jump into the workouts with you guys afterwards. Now, for today, regarding the initial consultation, I've talked about it. I've gone over a couple things regarding personality drivers and motivators, and then the differences between public speaking and one-on-one. For today, I'm looking for you guys to actually sit down in front of one another and to start this process. And we'll use the same partners that we have here. Boom, 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 boom. Anthony, you lucky dog, you're going to get to be with me. And what I'm looking for is this. When you get together with your partner, there'll be a series of questions to the right. Now, by the time you see this, and when we get into class, you'll already know these, but what I'm looking for is this. With this first one, what is your favorite color, right? That's a very straightforward question, and it's a very straightforward closed-end question. My favorite color is purple. Okay, and that's it. It's a very binary. When you get to the next question, well, tell me why this is your favorite color. And you'll probably be met with, well, shoot, I don't know. I just like purple. It's just something I've always liked. Maybe it's regal. I don't know. It's just something I've always really enjoyed color-wise. And then you get to this. And what happens here is when you ask them to think of the color and what do they associate that color with, it opens up the door for conversation because it now goes from a very binary type of question that is very closed-ended to one that is progressively more open-ended to very open-ended. And when you think of this color, I mean, what do you associate with it? Well, I have to say, I really like the color purple uh, long before I went to my undergrad. But my undergrad, the colors were purple, gold, and white. I went to UW Whitewater. And I have to tell you, I really enjoyed my time there. And it sounds silly, but I still associate the color purple with UW Whitewater and the experiences I had there and the friendships I made and the successes I've had, when I was at UW Whitewater. And that is a completely different line of questioning, and it opens up more of a psychological, emotional type of answer as opposed to just the binary, I like the color purple. So now if we get into this, if you had to choose between a cat or a dog for a pet, which would you choose? And many times, I prefer iguanas or I want a bird. Okay, fine. You can have whatever pet you want, but which would you choose? Oh, I would choose a dog. Okay, now do you have a specific breed that you like? Well, I have two pit bulls and I have two other dogs, and I really adore my pit bulls because any reputation that they've had is just patently wrong. I mean, these guys are so loyal, they're so loving, they listen so well. I mean, I don't know where they got it from. And now you're kind of changing the context of the conversation. I mean, why would you choose this pet? Well, now I would choose them just because they're such amazing dogs, and as I mentioned, just their loyalty and how loving they are. Um, they're just wonderful, wonderful breed. And then you go into the adjectives that you would use to describe the pet that you chose. And I mean, I naturally just kind of went into that in the course of conversation. Now, here's the thing. You will never, ever ask a potential client what their favorite color is or what is their preference of pet when you're sitting down with them to do a consultation. But I'm more interested in you understanding the mechanics of these two very different types of questions. One is color, one is about a pet, and understand how it goes from the very binary closed end to very much more of an emotional open-ended answer. And now it becomes, how do you apply that in the initial consultation when you're sitting down with somebody? So if you think of this in the initial consultation, and this is a very real example and something I've used many times in my career. All right, and we'll try this here in a second, but we'll stay partnered up and we'll go ahead and start asking these questions. Oh, so when you were growing up, did you have any particular sports that you participated in? And many times they'll have something: baseball, football, basketball, soccer, whatever it might be. The rare person might come in and say, well, I just did, chess or debate, and they really weren't involved in sports, which is fine because then it gives you a little bit better context of what you're working with. And then it becomes, okay, well, which sports? What did you participate in? And all right, so you played this sport and that sport and this sport. Okay, great. Now, how far did you go? Well, I played baseball in Little League, and then in high school, I ended up just doing football. And then when I went to college, I did football and track. Okay, great. Do you have particular activities that you do now? Well, training wise, I really like high intensity kind of training. I enjoy that hard workout. Um, and it becomes like where you can paint a clear picture regarding these answers. So what you're really getting to is this. What were some of the sports? And these are the questions over here, and what you're really getting out of the person. So what were some of the sports growing up? Well, I played football and I ran track, and I also did baseball when I was a young boy. And so you got out of baseball? Well, yeah, I switched from baseball to mostly football and track. Baseball wise, it was just something I did when I went to go visit my father out of town. I did it all summer, and he was the coach. It was a great bonding experience. But I was just not good enough to play baseball in high school, and I didn't have the experience in the area of playing Legion ball, et cetera, that everybody else did. So I really wasn't a known entity. But like football and track, I played football in high school and then played football in college. And I also ran track in college. Okay, cool. So you were a two-sport athlete in college. How'd that go? Well, like when I would, for football or etc., and I would go into track season, I would lose some weight in the process because I was putting on more miles. Well, tell me, what position did you play in football? Well, I was a defensive back. Yeah, I played defensive back. And how about track? What did you do in track? Well, I was a 400 meter kind of guy. And at that point, the person is athletic and the person can handle the grind of a hard workout because they had to prepare for two different sports, one of which is a very high intensity sport, combative sport, that is football, and the other one is a very intense and grueling event in track, 400 meters. And that at some point they had to come around that last curve and run the last 100 meters. And you have to find a way to put yourself in a happy place when you do that event for those last 100 meters. It's a grueling, grueling event. But now, as a client, they can handle that type of work. And here's the other important thing. That they did those types of workouts when they were 20 years old. And so, if you kind of push them along and you get them to the place where you can push them hard enough, I can guarantee you it'll take them back to that place. It'll take them back to those kind of workouts. They'll even say to you at some point, oh my God, I haven't worked that hard since I did ladder type drills for track, where we were doing, warm ups for a mile, and then we would do sprint drills 100, 200, 400, 800, 400, 200, 100. And oh my God, that was pretty intense. And it'll resonate with them because their body will remember it, and psychologically and emotionally they'll remember it, and you'll be taking them back to a place they once were. So, John, tell me a little bit more. In football, were you a starter? Yeah, yep. I started at defensive back. Okay, cool. And track, well, I ran 400, and so it wasn't really like a starter per se. I mean, how did you do, John? Well, actually, I ended up qualifying for conference. And so I started, I was a starter for football and I qualified for conference and track. So I think I did pretty good. And at that point they have a motor. That they enjoy the work. They've had some success. Their mindset is a little bit different than perhaps somebody who just maybe is not fully understanding the workload associated with working out and fitness. And now it becomes a question, what do you like doing at this point? Well, I like doing a 5K every once in a while, but I really prefer high intensity training, and you can kind of then bifurcate or subdivide into different pools what your client is accustomed to at this time. And you can work with them and kind of take them down a path, whether it's HIIT or towards a 5K, et cetera. But from up here, from the very subjective nature of this, what makes them tick. And it's as much when you're sitting across the table from somebody, you're looking at trying to find the clearest picture, of course, and you're trying to use very objective type of questioning, whether it's a PAR-Q, a health history questionnaire, might be an FMS, as we talked about in another presentation, but those are very objective and they allow you to point out contraindications to exercise, very much physical and health related. And now what you're doing is you're trying to get into the more subjective side, the more psychological, emotional side, and you're trying to determine what makes that person tick and how you can leverage them better. So again, when I talk about training and I talk about the initial consultation and the meet and greet and the relationship building and how it starts when you pick up the phone, when you first call the person because of your professionalism, but then when you sit down and start to talk with them about what actually makes them tick, and you utilize that in your workouts to kind of nudge them along, I'm telling you, you're building a stronger, more robust relationship with that person, and you're actually helping to take them back to a place where maybe they felt very successful, perhaps they felt very athletic and youthful, and that's a place we all want to get to as we age. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and you'll have this to be able to watch at your leisure, and I'm looking forward to actually seeing you guys in class. So you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in a little bit.